Today, we are sold on this idea that discipline is this out of reach thing that only certain people can achieve. And it also is one of those things that we need in our life in order to create the kind of life that we want to create. And discipline has become this idea that you have to be super rigid, you have to have these strict rules in order to be a disciplined person. And as someone who considers myself fairly disciplined, I don't really think that that is the mindset that you need to be having in order to create the kind of discipline that you want in your life. Because I've gone through phases of showing up consistently for myself, being extremely disciplined, but hating my life, and the exact opposite of that as well. And I've really found this middle ground of being a disciplined person, but not living through the strict, rigid rules of the way that I need to live my life in order to consider myself a disciplined person, or to be able to say that I'm doing enough in my life. And I promise you that if you stick to the end of this video, you will have absolutely everything that you need in order to become the most disciplined version of yourself and to not hate your life and hate yourself in the process. Now, you may be asking, what gives me the authority to speak on this? Well, at the age of 21, I've been able to speak to some of the most disciplined men and people on the planet, really. From James Lawrence, who has actually considered one of the most disciplined men on the planet, doing 101 Ironmans and 101 days. He's done multiple different he's biked up Mount Kilimanjaro, like insane things. The CEO of Spartan has been on the podcast, Joe DeSena, who has literally created a business, 100 million plus business just around doing hard things. And Tim Kennedy, a Green Beret, I've had Navy SEALs on the podcast. I've had everything in between to understand the psychology, to understand the physiology, to understand really everything that comes down to really becoming a disciplined kind of person. And I've broken it down to really 3 simple steps. So stick to the end to understand everything that you need. So step 1 is understanding identity. And this is something that you've probably heard in your past, but you never really put it into practice and understand why it's so powerful in your life. You have to understand that your identity is the accumulation of the beliefs that you have about yourself based on your past experiences, and even more so, your confirmation bias that reinforce those past experiences in your life. This is why most people create a life that is similar to their past and their future, because they're so connected to who they have been that they can never see a future of who they can possibly become. And your identity is going to determine your actions and your inactions. Most people struggle with not taking action, and that really comes down to the identity that they hold about themselves, not being a confident person, not being a person that takes action, not being a person that shows up when they tell themselves they are going to show up. And how you decide and what you decide about yourself is going to determine what actions you take, as well as how you show up in the world. And if your identity doesn't serve the future that you want, i.e., if you don't see yourself as a disciplined person, you are going to go out of your way to prove yourself right, because your confirmation bias really plays out here. You have to understand that you are always trying to prove yourself right. And so if you have this belief that you are not a disciplined person, or you're just not like those other people, you're never going to work. All of your actions are going to be against the person that you tell yourself that you want to become, but are actively trying to work against. So if you want to become a disciplined person, and even further, make it easy on yourself, you have to understand that you have to hold the identity that you are a disciplined person. I used to believe that I wasn't a disciplined person. I wasn't a morning person. Great example. And I wouldn't wake up early in the morning, and it would be difficult for me to wake up early in the morning. And it wasn't until I told myself that I am a morning person, that I love my mornings. They are the most sacred time of my day, that I started to act in accordance with that belief because I wanted that to be true. And maybe I didn't have the evidence to reinforce that. You may not have the evidence to reinforce that. You aren't a disciplined person, but you have to understand that identity is a moment to moment choice. It's nothing that's fixed until you choose to be fixed. And so you have to go out of your way to create these tiny wins, which is number 2, to create those action points or memory dividends to reinforce the kind of person that you want to become in the future, to help you step into the most disciplined version of yourself. And it really is as small as just telling yourself you're going to do something and then doing it. If I was sitting down right now and I told myself that I was going to stand up and I didn't stand up, all I'm doing is telling myself that I can't keep my promises that I make to myself. And so if I can't keep the promises I make to myself, why would I show up when life gets hard? You know what I mean? So it's like as simple as that. It's just showing up for yourself when life is easy. That allows you to show up for yourself when life gets more difficult. So when everyday life happens or real challenge shows up in your life, you fail to show up because you're not someone who keeps their word. You see where I'm going here? Like all discipline really is just keeping your word to yourself. It's just doing what you said you were going to do. That's why I'm saying it doesn't have to be so strict. It doesn't have to be so rigid. You don't have to have a million things you have in your day to say that you're going to do and get to the end of the day and say, I did these million things. No, it's like you could do 3 things, but as long as you told yourself you're going to do them and you did them, you are a successful, disciplined person. because discipline all really comes down to just keeping the promises that you make to yourself. Because the more that you tell yourself you're going to do something and you follow up, you're just creating proof of, I am someone who keeps their word to themselves. And so when life gets more difficult, you're able to show up for yourself because you are that kind of person. Going back to why identity is so important. Really, all you have to do to make this simple is realize that you have created so much proof of the opposite that you're just falling back into a pattern. It's unconscious. At this point, it's not your fault that you are where you are, because you've created that habit for so long and your unconscious just takes over. Like the habit of just being the kind of person that you are has taken over. And so you need to create the habit of being the kind of person that you want to become. And that is a disciplined person, or you wouldn't be watching this video. This is step 3, and this is make it easy. Here's the easy part of making discipline easy. I want to give you an example of, let's say you want to eat less sweets. For me, this is extremely easy, let's say for when I'm traveling, for example, because if I'm staying in an Airbnb, I have no sweets. There's nothing in the cabinets. And so it's extremely easy for me to not go into the pantry or not do anything, not eat any sweets, because they're not there in my environment. And this is what I want you to understand. The most disciplined people aren't actually so disciplined. They just make their environments easy to be disciplined in. And so your environment in real life, most people's environment, is actively working against the person that they say they want to become. And so it has nothing to do with you being a disciplined person. It has everything to do with the habit of not being a disciplined person. So the most disciplined people are just surrounding themselves with people and environments and just ways of living that make it easy for them to be disciplined. So it's the same thing with the people that you surround yourself with, the food that you have in your house, all of the things, it all comes down to your environment, because we are humans of habit. And so whatever we have around us that makes it easy to act in accordance to what we have in our past or the people that we're surrounding ourselves by, it just makes it easier or to become a disciplined person or to not become a disciplined person. I've had conversations with some of the most disciplined people on the planet in my everyday life. It makes it easier for me to push myself further because I'm consistently surrounding myself in my environment with people that push me to be the best version of myself. If I'm speaking with someone that has done 101 Ironmans in 101 days straight, if I go to the gym today and I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to do that extra rep, I'm thinking about what that dude just did to be able to kind of show up for themselves that way. Like, it's insane. It's unfathomable to believe that the human body can even do something like that. But when I'm surrounded by people like that, it pushes me to become the kind of person that I want to be. And so your environment that you surround yourself with, that can be a virtual, that could be in person, is going to be a constant reminder of what's possible. And if you are surrounding yourself with people and things that don't support the person that you want to be, discipline is going to be really hard. And you're going to have the belief that discipline is really hard. And so that belief is going to drive your behavior. You're going to want to prove yourself right, that discipline is very hard. But in reality, it's just your environment making it hard on you. And so at the end of the day, discipline really comes down to 3 things. It comes down to your identity, the way that you show up for yourself, the way that you tell yourself you're going to show up for yourself, the beliefs that you hold about yourself, the actions that you take that support the identity that you want or the identity that you are showing up as currently, and your environment. Who are you surrounding yourself with? This is why coaching was so powerful for me when I was 17 years old, when I got into coaching, was recognizing, hey, if I just surround myself with people that want to see me win, it's going to be really difficult to get in my own way because I have people holding me accountable to doing the things that I said I wanted to do. But again, it's just habit. And you just need to create the habit of being a disciplined person, because it has nothing to do with you not being a disciplined person now. You can't tell yourself discipline doesn't have to be difficult. And if you treat every opportunity like it's a game, how long can you keep that streak going of keeping your promises to yourself? And if you fail, that's okay. Just try again, like continuously show up for yourself. How long can you show up for yourself? How many times can you keep that promise to yourself? It doesn't matter how big, doesn't matter how small, but don't sell yourself short and tell yourself that you are not capable of becoming a disciplined person, or that's just not who you are, because all you're doing is letting yourself off the hook. When you have people around you that are doing amazing things, or you have people you look up to that you tell yourself you could never become like them, all you're really doing is letting yourself off the hook by telling yourself that you're not capable. And telling yourself you're not capable is a lot easier than believing that you're capable and actually putting yourself in the arena and putting yourself in the situations to really see if you're capable or to see what you're made of. Because that means you have to face failure. That means you have to face yourself. That means life gets more difficult. You get to choose your hard in life. And most people are choosing the hard, that discipline is so hard. But really, discipline creates freedom. And if you are able to create a healthy relationship with discipline, and hopefully this video allows you to, I hope that you recognize that you are capable of becoming a disciplined person. And discipline really doesn't have to be this strict, rigid idea of what discipline is sold to us as. I used to believe discipline means that I have to work every single hour of the day. I have to do all of these things and I can't take any time to actually breathe. And then every time I travel, I'm reminded, whoa, like there is so much stress in the world that we just inflict on ourselves. And discipline does not mean that. Actually, discipline allows you to open up your life for freedom. Because when I'm traveling and I'm walking multiple hours a day and I need to get work done, well, that hour or two that I have, I'm going to be more disciplined than I would when I have an entire day because I'm strict in time frames instead of strict in the way that I live my life. It's just more so I'm more spontaneous, but I'm still disciplined. I'm still doing the things that I need to do because discipline allows freedom. And I know that I'm a disciplined person because I show up for myself. I tell myself that I'm going to do something and I do it. And discipline really can be easy, but I promise you that you're probably making it harder on yourself than you think. And I hope this episode and I hope this framework can help you understand that for yourself.